What's going on, folks? I was thinking about something and I mentioned it in my last video. I've decided I want to go ahead and pass on these resources a little early in this. I want to do it now, but I'm going to ask of a few things that if you could do this for me, please do this. I'm going to pass on these resources, but one, I ask that just watch these videos and finish them. Don't just take this one of these resources and run with it. Listen to what I have to say. But number two, I ask that you please like and subscribe. You may not watch every video I have. There's some things I may say that may help you. Chime in on it. I think it's the way it all is in some of these channels. And I get everybody wants you to subscribe, but it would help. And three, as I said, pass this on to other people that might be interested in this because it will help them. One point I want to make is there may be something I said that you've heard 10 other people say, and maybe it clicked with you the way I said it. Or you listened to 10 people say the same thing, and all of a sudden that one person said it in such a way where it clicked, or it worked, or they explained it in a way. Or you've seen it enough times where, okay, I get it. This is something I need to focus on. And you're going to kind of get that. You may hear some things I haven't talked about in other channels. Maybe it's because I forgot about it or I haven't talked about it. And if you hear somebody else's take on something, you want me to talk about it, let me know. So I'll give you my take on it. It may not be much more than what you got, but then again, you never know. So I'd be glad to, in my experiences. But I'm going to pass on some really good resources here, but I just ask of you to do those few things for me, please. And please continue and finish watching the series. Bear with me here because I've got some books and a bunch of YouTube channels. And I'm going to explain these YouTube channels where they'll help you. If there's a type of music that you're into doing or something that you love, you may be following some of these channels. And if you are, that's great. You are in the right direction, I'm telling you, because they've helped me and I still watch them. Listen, I still watch channels that people wonder, why are you asking? Because I like to keep my eyes and ears open to new things, not to mention the business and the industry is changing all the time. This is one reason why I go to that music conference every year, the Production Music Conference. I go to it every year. We're going to talk about that later, but that's the first resource I'll give to you once you're ready. Once you get good at the music you want to do and maybe get you a couple libraries under your belt, start doing it, please, I ask of you, consider going to the Production Music Conference. The Production Music Association holds it every year in Los Angeles. And yes, I know it's expensive. I mean, my hotel room for 4 nights at the Hilton Universal is $1,400 plus the $300 and something ticket and your food. It's a couple of $1,000s or more, airfare and all. But I mean, if you're going to start making money at this, it's investing in your business too, big time. But in time, consider that. They have a virtual ticket as well. You can do it virtually and you can watch it for a couple of years. It's only, $100 and something, $100 for the virtual, and you can watch the panels. But there's nothing like being there in person because this is where you meet people face to face. You're sitting there, you're having lunch with them or having a beer or a coffee with them. A lot of coffee and tea. I don't drink as much as I used to. But you're sitting there, and I've gotten contracts and valuable collaborations, and I've gotten to know people and really be really good friends and cohorts and, just connect with people that I've not even done music with. You go back and look at the video if you haven't of me at the conference and people I've interviewed. Their channels I'm going to refer to you here today. And they're good people. Some of them I've mentioned about working full-time jobs. Don't worry about that stuff. Don't let that concern you. Who cares what anybody else is doing? Your journey is different from everybody else's. It doesn't matter what you're doing other than that. It really doesn't matter. Look at all the musicians, the big, huge celebrities. There's TV and movie stars that have side businesses because they enjoy it, or have running businesses, or they invest in things, or they're just doing other things musically. They're being diverse because a lot of times they're just the kind of people that don't like to sit and watch paint dry on the walls. They love doing stuff. You do you. That's all that matters. Don't ever let anybody shame you into this. But with that said, I digress. My apologies. I'm going to turn you on to some resources. Now, as the order of these resources to read, I will give you an order in which I think you should read on these books I'm going to refer. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to refer. Actually, that's not going to be the first. That's going to be the second thing I refer. Because the first thing I'm going to refer is the only course that I would recommend, and another group that is kind of like a course, because he teaches at Full Sail University, and he's got an incredible group, and I encourage you to get along with it. Don't let somebody shame you because you paid a subscription to that website to get involved in that group. It's a small one. It's not like a pay-for-play. You're going to learn a lot, but you don't have to stay there all the time. But there's a free level of membership where you can get in with the group, and you can meet people, and you can collaborate with these people. And same goes for some other places that we're going to talk about. It really is cool. But the first course that I'd recommend you is to go to Jesse at Sync My Music. Jesse Josephson. And I'm going to refer again his YouTube channel. 52 Cues, it's Sync My Music. And I'll put the caption on the screen. Follow his YouTube, please. Even if you don't take his course, follow his YouTube. There's so many good resources, but I encourage you. I took that course. I'm telling you from personal experience. In 2016, I was one of his first students. When he rolled that course out, I don't know how much of the verse ones, but I was in that first group, pretty thick in it. And what helped me is I'd already been doing this 6 years. It put the pieces of the puzzle together. Remember I talked about throwing spaghetti on the wall from 2010 to 2016? I'm trying to prevent you from doing that for 6 years. That course connected. I already knew some stuff about the business and some contracts, but there were things about getting me connected with the Production Music Association and going to the Production Music Conference. How to do certain genres of music and how to structure music for sync and a few other things. He goes into contracts and a lot of other things. Take his course. If you're looking to take a course, get involved in him. I'm going to tell you, don't think he's not. He is the real deal. And if you want resources, there are people in this industry. You get in these Facebook groups. Be careful what you're listening to. You're going to people asking questions. But in these Facebook groups, you've got a lot of people giving good advice. You need to know who they are. If you ask a question, certain people give you advice. Go look them up. Go look their repertoire up on BMI. I'm going to show you that when we start looking for libraries and looking for collaborators and you start researching libraries and composers. I'll show you about how to do that. I do that because you really want to know what libraries they're writing for. Not that they're a fit for you, but you want to know what they're doing. You know, there's buzz about them. Google them. Get on YouTube. And I interviewed, all of those guys were that big, but I interviewed one guy when I was at the music conference, Eddie Wall, and he's in those groups. And there are people who argue with him that have no experience or very little, like he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he goes, that guy has no idea what I do. And they don't. Please be careful before you argue with somebody. Don't get in those groups. But in those Facebook groups, you will find that, you know, people ask questions. And I hear people talking negatively about Jesse's course. There's nothing negative about it. Very few negative. But you got a lot of people, a lot more people in there. There are libraries and very talented and very connected in this industry that recommend him too because they know he works in this industry. He has, and I know it for a fact. So Jesse Josephson at Sync My Music. Get on that. The next one, Dave Croft at 52 Cues. Go to his YouTube. I'm going to refer his YouTube. Even if you don't get involved as a group, follow him on YouTube. Dave Croft. Dave is a great guy. I see him at the conference when he's there. I know I saw him this year. We're all hanging out. He and I have a connection. We're really good friends out of Memphis, Tennessee. He was in Memphis. I was already moved away from Memphis. I may have been there in the time he was there. I just didn't know him. He was playing drums with a real good friend of mine. He's an insanely talented guitar player. He's big into photography there in Memphis named Donnie Smith. But 52 Cues, Dave Croft. Go to the52cues.com. Get involved if you can. He teaches at Full Sail University. Folks, you ain't going to get any bigger than that. He's a department chair at Full Sail. He's an incredible talent. I love him to death. He's a great guy. I really do want to collaborate with him one day soon. I really do. Just hadn't had the chance. And you want to talk about somebody who works his butt off. He teaches at Full Sail. He writes production music. He does some sub-publishing on the side and runs the 52 Cues thing with his wife. He works very hard. He does well with this. This is the thing of like, he has a full-time job teaching at Full Sail. No one's shaming him into it, and he does very well, I might add, in music licensing. And I'm referring to you because I know he does. So there's two people to connect the dots for you. I'm telling you. So I mentioned the other day I took a course years ago from a guy, and I'm not going to mention his name. I'm just not doing it. It was a disappointment. And I'm not going to say he's a bad guy or anything. He just came off later in years like he was a jerk. Didn't care about his course. When I mentioned that I was one of his first students in that course, he didn't care. He didn't care to talk to me. He didn't he just didn't, I don't know what it is, He hasn't added anything to his course. He just, a few years ago, he brought a guy in that was doing some side group stuff, and all that guy was doing is wanting to take half people's writers and let us do the work, and it was supposed to be a collaborating way. We'd collaborate together. But he wasn't that. He was just taking people's music, trying to get half the writers. No, I can do that. And I don't think he got mad at me because I didn't want to send any more music, and I don't care. He pretty much, I think he's a good guy. I really do. I think his heart's in a great place. I just don't think he meant to do it, but he kind of ran that guy's business into the ground, his course. And the guy who held over the course didn't, as Joe's saying, if you don't run your business, someone else is going to run it for you, and they'll run it into the ground. That's why I didn't take my hands off the wheel when I've had a retail business before, because I had employees that some of them deep down really wanted to put me out of business, and they never succeeded at it. They weren't gonna. It's just, hate to be that way, but don't take your eye off the ball, folks. Love what you do and do it. So that's the courses. Next, the books. Now, I'm not going to give you an order to read after this one, but I think the first book you should read, and man, I'm going to tell you right now, in 2010, I wish I had this book, because this book, it will be your user manual. It's incredible. I've mentioned this book before, and I'm telling you, if there's one book you better get, this is the one. But I'm going to refer some others that I really would want you to get. Really. And some of you get in this, we got to get into music supervisors and all that. I'm going to refer you a book that a music supervisor wrote that tells you the life of a music supervisor and how busy their job is and what they go through. And you're going to understand that they're just not accessible like you think. And their whole job, a music supervisor's job, is not just to take your music. They don't have time for all that. They're looking for music. And if you have to have a connection with them, or somehow you made a connection with them, you succeed. You did a great job. If you connected with them and you're in their email list, send them music. Don't not do it, but be professional about it. It's a part of, you've got to learn this business before you send music to these libraries. Please understand that you want to, and I know you do, but you have to understand what you're doing. And it's not a science project like people want to make you think it is. It's just some things you need to connect to. You need to connect the dots, a few things. You have to understand. You have to get a protocol about you. You have to understand there's a right way of doing this. There's a wrong way of doing this. And we're going to talk about when I tell you. I'll show you my email I send my publishers. It's never been a problem. And it's what works. And I'm going to let you in a little something. It's nowhere near as intricate as you think. Trust me, it's not your life story. You're not going to put things in that email that you think it matters, but it doesn't matter to them. Because all that matters is the music. I promise you, it's all that matters. And you get a good working relationship with these guys. You may meet them at the production music conference. Have lunch with them, spend time with them. I do that every year. I spent really good time with two of the libraries I write for this past year. I had a beer with one or two of them and had lunch and hung out with them. And just great conversation, great insight, talking about future plans and things going on. And that's a good working relationship, my friends. That's how you do it. So anyway, I digress on that point. First book I will recommend here, if the camera shows it, is called Hey, That's My Song. This is the first book I'm telling you right now you need to get, and you need to read this book. This will be your user manual. I'm going to tell you right now, this book covers everything from sample contracts, keywords, the equipment you may need to get, just some of their advice. I mentioned the keywords, but a lot of the stuff on how to approach libraries, how to construct library music. And I'm telling you, this is a married couple. If you read the book, Tracy Advance Marino, these two go to every music conference you can think of. I see them at the conference every year. I was talking to them this year. But I just try to find a point to connect with them, to maybe do some collaboration with them. I really do. And me did not really get to a point. I don't think I was, but every time I spoke to him, I wasn't in a position to be able to one-on-one talk to them and say, hey, how can I get involved and maybe do some music with you guys? Or they stay so busy. I'm telling you right now, that's the busiest married music couple I've ever seen in my life. The both of them compose music. They collaborate. I think they work with some publishing stuff, but their music is everywhere, and they're at every conference. I don't care what it is. They're at every one of them, and there's a lot to be said for that. They're at the Society of Composers and the supervisors ones. They're not music, but they're there. They want to learn. They're at the Taxi Road Rally every year. You've been there. You've seen them. They've spoken on panels. They spoke on panels at this conference, I believe. They're at the Production Music Association's Production Music Conference every year. They're so approachable. They're the nicest people. If you met them in public somewhere at a restaurant, bar, or in the airport or something, you'd never think that they compose music for a living. Not that there's a look for that. Hell, you wouldn't even think I would. If you, most people don't, they're looking at me standing there until I tell you that I do. Used to have that look back in the day when I had hair on my head. That shit ain't happening anymore. But anyway, that's the verse book I'm telling you to get. It's called Hey, That's My Song. You can get it on Amazon, folks. You can get it on Amazon. It's about $25-30. It'll be the best pieces of reading material and a manual for you that you've ever gotten in your entire life. There are references for, and I haven't read this. Holy cow, let me see something here. They may have been references to certain libraries. Maybe not. I know there's a lot of genre and a lot of stuff. They have recommended reading in the back. They tell you what to read. I need to go back and read that. Hell, I've had this book a year or two now, and I haven't read that. So I have some more reading to do. So there you go. Right here on this video, I'm seeing things I need to read some more. So I love it. Great book, man, I'm telling you. Next book is Dan Graham's book, and it's called Composer's Guide to Library Music. Just go to composersguidetolibrarymusic.com, Dan Graham. He talks about this whole 52 cues thing. That's what Dave Croft's group's based on. Now, what he mentions in the book about 52 cues is great for starting out. It's great, but you'll do more when you get to a point of being able to do your music. You'll do more than 52 cues. My thing is I can do 52 cues a year per library and do 3 or 4 good libraries, and there's 200 and something tracks. You know, that's 4 cues a week. But we'll get on that later. We'll talk about it. But get Dan Graham's book. And guys, all I also ask is please don't email me and ask me to send you a copy or some ebook free. I don't have them on These are hard books. I think I got Dan Graham's book somewhere on a device somewhere. I can't remember where it's at. But go buy them. If you're serious about this, support these guys on their books and go buy these books. Go do it. So that's 2 books I would recommend. Third book, Dean Krippaehne. If you follow Taxi TV, that's another YouTube channel I'm going to tell you to follow. You don't have to be a member of Taxi to follow the YouTube channel. It's free. It's incredible resources. Listen, that's the only thing that people consider pay for play that I would recommend. Because basically all there is a screening service for libraries. There are screening service for libraries that won't take unsolicited music. And that's just our protocol, and that's okay. They trust those guys. They're screeners. They have that process. It's not a gatekeeper thing. It's not a negative thing. I just think there's a couple of things that could be better about it. Like if they don't take the song, they need to have a portal where they can take the song and put it over there and send one email out if they don't take it, and have access a portal where that library can drop the tracks they didn't take in that portal and send one email that's anonymous. It could be say, hey, listen, thank you so much for your submission of this track for this brief. Right now we can't take it, but please keep submitting. If they just do that, because they say, well, if after a month they don't take it, send it to another library. Well, there have been numerous times I've heard where the libraries have emailed them back in 2 or 3 months and said, hey, you still got the track? I'd love to sign it. I'm like, no, I sent it to somebody else. But feel free to tell them respectfully. Don't get mad at it. Don't ever do that. Tell these people that, I have more I'd love to send you. Send them the music if they respond to you. Don't be rude. Listen, do not burn that bridge. We'll talk about that too. You burn a bridge that you may have to cross later on down in life. You're SOL, so please. But with Taxi, you've seen this guy being interviewed. His name is Dean Krippaehne. If I can get this lined up. Demystifying the Genre. This is a good book. I didn't get the demystifying the cue. I'm not sure why. But this is a good book because what he does is simply, he'll break down each genre of music and how to write for it, and he gives you audio examples. It's a great book. This is a good one to read, folks. From Dean Krippaehne. If you can see that, I'll type the captions on the screen so you know. Absolutely. So that's a great book, I'm telling you right now. Another 2 books I read years ago. If you're a songwriter, one of the best songwriters in the world, and she's Michael Lasco of Taxi actually published these books, but she's one of the best songwriters in the world. She really is. Her name is Robin Fredericks. If you had never followed her, her books are amazing. This I got before I got the film and TV. Once this 126 shortcuts to hit songwriting. This book, if you're a songwriter, is so valuable. You've got a lot of cool tools now that you can use to write lyrics with. And I cannot remember that one program you can get on iOS. It's so good, and it suggests, it's got a thesaurus in it and keywords, how to write lyrics. If I remember it, I'll pass it on later. But if you're a songwriter, this lady right here is somebody to learn from. She's on panels at Taxi all the time. But this is the one that got my attention for sure. It doesn't look like a Crack's book much, but it's been years. It's been sitting in storage. It's Shortcuts to Songwriting for Film and TV. Now, she doesn't just talk about songwriting. She talks about instrumental music as well, because instrumental music is used more than songs out there. Robin Frederick, Shortcuts to Writing for Film and TV. Great book. This is a good book. She breaks down some things for you. Indeed, she does. So there is a program, and if I remember that thing, I'll pass it on. About writing lyrics. In fact, if it comes to mind while I'm in this video, I will pass that on. It's a really good. There's a lot of cool tools out there that you can write lyrics and music with, and it really is cool. It really is. So, hang on one second here. Well, I've got you on the video. I don't want to waste time here, but I got to refer you a lot more. But no, you don't want to do that. It's called Master Writer. That's what it is. Guarantee that's what it is. All right, guys. We're on it. It's called Master Writer. I don't know if they're still active. Yeah. It's called Lyric Studio. They changed it now. It's called Lyric Studio, a songwriter's best friend. And it's from Master Writer. Actually, no, forget that. Lyric Studio is like an AI generation. Look that up and do it. I don't know about it. Master Writer is the one. It's called Master Writer Songwriting Software. Master Writer. It's just one word. Look up Master Writer. I haven't used it in years, but a lot of songwriters just called Master Writer. I don't know about the other one. You can look that up, but I don't think that's as good as Master Writer. But if you're writing lyrics, it's a really cool tool to put on your iPad, and it gives you a thesaurus and keyword titles, and you can kind of type in a preface of what you're doing and structure the song stuff. It's a good resources on the edition of that songwriting book. If you're a singer-songwriter with lyrics, if that is your thing, for Sync, because you make good money writing songs for TV with lyrics and stuff. Really good. So that's Robin Frederick's books, and I got Dan Graham's book. Another guy by the name of Steve Barden, if you've watched Taxi TV, Barden. I see him at the conference. I was just talking to him this year. He's written 2 books. One is called Writing Production Music for TV. I've read that one, and it's all right. It's good. But I would encourage you to read the other ones. The first one I recommended for sure. And the next book he did was called Deconstructing Production Music. I will bet that is a good book, but I've never read it. But maybe someone's done a review on it. Look it up. It's Deconstructing Production Music. It's basically, if I were to guess, it's how to reverse engineer briefs with reference tracks and how to write like these tracks for TV. And we'll talk about that when we get into writing for briefs and stuff. So, alrighty, the next book I'm going to refer to you, and it's the last book I'm going to refer to you. It's called Thinking in Sync. And she is a music supervisor, and she wrote this book some time ago, and a lot of people recommend it. And I read some of it on the airplane coming back from the production music conference, and I haven't finished it. I may have to read on it again going out to LA when I go to my cruise here this week. Thinking in Sync, and the author is Amanda Krieg Thomas. And she'll run you through what her job is, and you'll get an insight. And you will clearly understand that music supervisors are not the first one you need to search for. You need to start with libraries. I'll talk about that later. So that's your books, folks. Next section is YouTube channels. I've got a few of them here, but I'm going to talk about a few that you really need to know about. So I already told you the courses to take, but I guess first channel comes out of the gate is, hey, follow me. I've got a few things to say that might help you. There's one channel you can follow, the one you're watching right now. That's your first suggestion. So, The next one is Jesse at Sync My Music. Go to Sync My Music. Follow his YouTube channel. Even if you don't take his course, follow his channel. I'd encourage you, if you're going to take a course, that's the one I recommend you do for taking an actual course. Because not only is his course just how the license, but he has a really good section on videos of how to compose genres of music. That's how I got good at tension and various other things. How to construct this. He's got a good group of people there. In fact, there's a couple. One of them I know that won a Mark Award. He's Dutch. Jelle Ditmar. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name, Jelle. Sorry about that, buddy. He's an incredible trailer composer. He's great. He won a Mark Award. He's one of Jesse's people that are like almost like mentors, where they can critique your songs and stuff like that, and he's involved in that, and several others. And it's just a lot of things you can get involved in. He has opportunities where you can write for things that sometimes people call him and say, I need a bunch of music. Do you have some guys that can do it? And he'll pull you out. Like Dave Croft has a program like that, you know. So 52 Qs is the next channel I will refer. But again, that's Sync My Music on this last channel with Jesse Josephson. The next channel, 52 Qs. I talked about Dave Croft. Get involved with him. There's a lot of stuff you can learn in there. One cool thing about Dave Croft with 52 Qs is he had it on Patreon for a while, but now it's in his 52 Qs group. You subscribe to it, and I think I'm not sure. I think the smallest tier you can get in is there's a part where you can go watch all of his videos composing. You can look over his shoulder, watch him compose live. Mind you, I told you, Dave Croft teaches at Full Sail University. They have a great school in production music. You can watch him, and he'll interact with you, and you can rest assured learn so much. He inspires me all the time, and you will learn. So 52 Qs, get involved on that webpage, on that YouTube channel. Next YouTube channel, Taxi TV. Go look it up. You may follow it already. Listen, you may not be excuse me, I had a noise outside. You may not be willing to subscribe to Taxi. That's okay. But follow their YouTube channel. They have so many videos on how-tos, people how to compose music, giving you advice. Robin Frederick, Steve Barden, Dean Crepane, all these people come on there, and so many others. And if you do subscribe to Taxi, you get 2 free tickets to their Taxi Road Rally each year. I've only been to the online virtual one in 2020, but I've never been to a road rally in person. They say it's cool. They say it's a great event. It's more of a learning conference than a working, but that's not to say it isn't a working, because there are a lot of people that do a lot of music you can collaborate with and you can get involved with, and they're with publishers, and they may get you involved with those libraries. Collaboration is key here, folks, and you'll learn it once you start getting this, is that you can get involved with people that can introduce you to libraries. Now, that, as I said, that doesn't mean you're a fit for that library, but you could be. It just depends. We're all different. But at least you collaborated with that individual, and you can continue to with albums for certain things. Whether you write solely for that library, you're still getting music out there. Collaboration. I'm really starting to get back myself into collaborating more. I got kind of burnt on something years ago that it really made me reluctant to collaborate with people. But there's a few people I collaborate with, I trust with now, and there's going to be more later. My mind has been on that, and it's a couple of people this year. I just got done with the album, one guy, and there's another one individual I'm a composer with who I trust, because it's through a library I write for, and I've heard his stuff, and I know he's a straight up celloist. He ain't putting any VSTs of a cello in that. That guy's incredible. So, but that's Taxi TV with Michael Lasco. Listen, if Taxi were a fraud, if Michael didn't care, he wouldn't be getting on 1 or 2 times a week for an hour and a half talking on YouTube about the music industry, giving valuable advice. You could go to taxi.com, and the general public, even if you don't subscribe to them, you can go read their music briefs. I suggest you go, if you want to start looking at music briefs, go look at those. They're very detailed of what these clients are looking for. There's reference tracks. You can listen to them. And we'll talk about when you're reading a brief and how I've learned to try to deconstruct that and work with that, and it'll help you a lot. So, but there are people, like I said, do a lot better than me. Go watch them as well on how to do this too. So, next channel is my friend Paul Croteau. Pretty sure it's Croteau because Michael Lasco pronounced it Croteau when he was on there. So if both of us are wrong, correct me, my friend. Correct me, Paulie, for sure. Yo Paulie Music. He gets on talking about a lot of cool things. And we were sitting there at lunch, at the Production Music Conference, and he was sitting there, and I think they got into an argument about AI. He goes, man, I had to get Ricky Gervais on him. In fact, he had said that when I was giving him a brief, quick interview about why he goes to the conference. But Yo Paulie Music, Paul Croteau, great guy. Follow his channel. Great talent. He's an actual, I think he's a horn player, sax player and stuff, but he plays other instruments. Next channel, if you're into hip hop, Clint Music. You may follow Clint. He's a great guy. Really good in this industry. Straightforward. He's got a little group of his own. You can get involved or not, but it's Clint Music. And he's giving you the straight and skinny about production music. And he goes on live. Just a great guy all the way around. I've never met Clint. But he's been on the channel with Dave Croft. And Clint is a very talented sync composer. And definitely one to follow if you're a hip-hop artist, if you're into that. So definitely Clint Music. Next channel, John Mayer Music. And it'll be on the screen. You'll see it. The spelling is not John Mayer, because he's one I interviewed real quick of why he comes to the conference. But John Mayer Music, he talks about a lot of things, production music. He has his own catalog under Atomica Music. Go listen to some of his music. In fact, while I'm on here, let me go look up his, I'm going to go look up his catalog. He's got two of them, but he's a really good composer with a lot of the folk and acoustic stuff. And John is just he's a great talent. Labels. Flesh and Bone is one on Atomica Music, and Merge Music, M-E-R-G-E. Go look at those two. Go listen to a lot of that music, but that's John's catalogs. And John Mayer is just a great guy. I see him at the conference every year. First few conferences, I didn't speak to him. I'd see him standing like he was real shy, but he wasn't that shy. I just didn't have any connection with him. So that's the thing about it. You can't be an introvert. You got to walk up and say and talk to people, you know. They've got their name tag and what they do, and you'll be surprised that most people aren't unapproachable. Most of these people are approachable. You know, you go to like any conference, especially the music conference, you'll see the fewest of the people in the corner that act like, you know, they wouldn't pee on you if you're on fire, you know. You have those types, you know. And you know that group, you know, and who they're from. And most of them are not even composers. They're just, I don't know what it is. I digress on that deal, but be it that it may, you'll get the point. You get the idea. Next channel I follow, Andrew Huang. And this is one guy you may have heard of. I mean, the guy's got, what, 2 million followers? He's incredible. What he can do with samples, songwriting, a lot in Ableton if you want to learn about that. But this guy can sample anything, the stuff he's done. He's just an incredible talent. And you want to talk about some people that are just wired to just be able to do anything? Andrew Huang is one of those guys. He's incredible. Gets a little goofy sometimes, but he's done, like, you know, the one sample with 3 composers, and they took that sample and chopped it up, made different tracks out of them. It's really cool. I mean, so worth watching. I'm telling you it is. So I'm clicking my pen here. Sorry. I'm scratching them off as we're doing it, folks. Next channel, I'll mention this one before I do this. It's a Top Music Attorney. I talked about her not too long ago. I just started following her, and there's a lot of good videos I've learned. She's an attorney, a music attorney, and she's also a musician. She's a singer. Her and her husband, and I haven't seen a video yet of her talking about breaking down a production music contract. I'm going to go look again, and I'll share it if so. If not, I'm going to ask her, see if she'll cover it, because I'm going to do a video covering how I read the contracts. But I will also encourage you, if something you're not uncomfortable, you need to ask questions, and you might need to, it just depends on what it is. Most cases, you don't need an attorney for a production music contract, but I'm not an attorney, so, you know, don't let me say don't hire an attorney. You may have to. I thought years ago that I may have had to hire an attorney to look at one contract I was reading, and when I compared them to the others and I started looking at the verbiage and I understood what it was, I didn't need to. It was okay. It's just part of learning this business over the last 15 years. So, and you'll learn that. So, but she's a good channel to follow. It's called Top Music Attorney. Next channel, Venus Theory, Cameron. This guy's an insane talent. He's based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Most of these people, like even Tommy Z, and on the whole ad, that's another channel I'll refer to in a minute, but Tommy Z and his guys, they know about him because he's involved. He writes for those guys. Cameron does a lot of stuff on the side, and he does a lot of ambient type music and cinematic stuff, but You watch Cameron and you just want to sit there and watch him and listen to him because he's insanely smart and he's intuitive. He's one of these guys that has a TV radio voice and can narrate something like the guy would make a killing of money narrating things. He's so good at stuff. It's incredible. And he's just so good at presenting his case and what he talks about. I mean, so much more than what I could. I just turned the camera on, but it's like, Cameron's just one of those people that were wired to be able to do that. And he's good. He really like that very serious tone. But he has his points where he'll make you laugh in the right way. So Venus Theory, folks, it's another one to follow. I know this is overwhelming, but over the course of time, these guys' videos pop up in different intervals. Something comes up, you'll want to watch them. You'll want to follow them. You really will. Next one, she does Logic Pro tips, and she's a little singer, and she's adorable, and she's a good singer. If you watch a video of her singing in performances, she can wail. She writes her own music Sides, and I'll have the spelling on the screen here. Sides. She does Logic Pro tips. She has a really cool little ebook, but she also talks about other things and brings people on. She's a really good channel to follow. So follow her. And next one, if you're learning Logic Pro, if you're a Logic Pro user, there's 2 channels that I follow. They're real good. And there's other channels that are really good too. But Music Tech Help Guy and a channel called Why Logic Pro Rules. Those are 2 first ones I can think of. But there are some other channels out there that are really good. Just Google Logic Pro tips. And you'll learn there's a lot of channels out there. There's one guy by the name of Eddie Gray. And I can't remember his channel name. But he went through the whole manual Logic Pro from start to finish, and I think it's the Music Collective or something. I can't remember. But down the road, I'll pass on if I can think to do it. But Eddie Gray is really good with Logic Pro. If you happen to find his channel out there, watch his Logic Pro tips. He's good. He might be somebody who can guide you as well. So anyway, he's just a great spirited guy. Eddie, I've met Eddie. I've had lunch with him and hung out a little bit, If you're into hip hop and you're a hip hop composer, love me some Bolo. He's a good egg. I was watching him about the MPC stuff, and I follow him because Bolo's, doesn't matter what genre of music you can do, whether it's hip hop, EDM, rock, tension. There's a lot of guys that give you some good insight out there about gear and software. It's called Bolo the Producer, old Bolo. And go watch his videos, and there's an interview of him, and a hip-hop song he produced, they wrote it in 10 minutes. And when he tells you the artist and the name of the song, you'll know if you're into hip-hop. It was a real big, quick hit about, 5 to 7 years ago or more. I can't remember. So I'm not a hip-hop guy, but something, Shanae, or it was like a dance and all this stuff. I can't remember what it was, but he wrote that thing with some kid, and it became a hit. And he's produced some other hip-hop artists I'm not familiar with that he's done well. But Bolo's a good cat, man. He's based out of Atlanta. Really good cat. And another guy out of Atlanta I'll refer to before I go to my next one is good old Henny, man. Henny the Business. Justin Henderson. I have it on the screen here. Hell of a talent. He does hip-hop. He does R&B. He writes for a lot of artists. This guy composes everything he does on an iPad, folks. So if you're interested in composing an iPad, Justin, Henny, man, he'll get you there. He's the one guy I know well. He's based out of Atlanta. Henny's a great guy, man. I'm telling you. Follow him if you're into hip-hop. Next guy most people know of if you're into hip-hop and doing even writing hip-hop cues, but gives you incredible ideas of how to write them. And this kid is amazing. He's a freaking, 22, 23-year-old millionaire? He's been like 3 or 4 years out of high school. The kid made it huge doing hip-hop beats for artists. And it's Nick Mira, man. Nick Mira. If you don't know him, go read up about him. Go follow his channel. He's a great guy. He hasn't done a video in a couple months. I think he's got a girlfriend in Japan, or maybe they went over there, or a friend or something. I don't know. But he'll sit there, man, and he'll do 3 or 4 beats a day and gives you great ideas how to record them and sample. Follow that guy, man. He said, that kid can do it. Nick Mira, man. Hell of a talent. Follow Nick, man. Follow him big time. Now, if you're into hip-hop, there's some other channels that you can follow, too, that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've followed them a little bit because just their channel is pretty cool. But Nick is So, you know, the kid, I don't know how you do it, but man, he's killing it. He really is. I mentioned him a second ago. If you want to get into advertising, writing for ads, if you want to write to ads, Tommy Z. Go to Tommy Z's YouTube or go to Studio Z. It's a lot of cool videos about writing for ads and composing and stuff like that. And I bought his course over a year ago or more. It's expensive. It was about $1,200. It was a tax write-off. It's a killer resource. I knew about most of the business end of that stuff. It's just about writing for ads. And I follow him. I get briefs from him sometimes. And I'd love to write for advertising. I think it'd be so good. If there's one thing I would score, it would be to advertising. So, you may have a very tight deadline, but they're not like, but one thing I will say is that if you're going to write for advertising, you got a music house that calls you. They're looking for about 3 different composers to take 3 examples to send to a client. If you commit to it, you better do it. That's one thing you better do, or you're done with those guys. Don't let them down, whatever you do. Be sure that you can do it. And, if you think you can do it, man, put your all into it, and it doesn't always work out. But the cool thing is they select you to do it out of 3, even if you get the commercial or not, you get a demo fee. Like sometimes it's like $300 to $500 a demo fee. Some of these guys make a living doing demo fees, and they may get 2 or 3 commercials a year. They make a living doing this. I'd love to do it. It's great. You're writing a quick 15 to 30 second slot, and trying to get music written for that. And it's an art form to it. There's a rhythm to it. So look up and follow Tommy Z, man. Really good guy. It has that course. And Studio Z is a second channel. In fact, there was a really good video the other day of a guy who works full-time job and writes for ads and stays very busy with Tommy. He's based out of the Jacksonville area. Watch that video. Really good, really good. So another great channel, if you're into ambient music, is Signs of Life, man. And I'm going to spell it on the screen because the I is a number 1 in signs and the I in life is a number 1. So Signs of Life, man. Very great spirited guy. Can teach you a lot about synth programming. Incredible. And all this connects because everything you're doing. So the next 2 channels I'll refer to you are a few of them. One is if you want to score direct and really get into this, into the stress of the music industry, you need to follow a guy by the name of Jonas Friedman. He's incredible, and he'll tell you about scoring direct. He even has a little course, and follow him. He has a little primer. And if you really want to get into that, he can tell you because he does it. And he's based out of Connecticut. Jonas Friedman, a good guy. Another one, and she composes direct. She doesn't have a course, but she gives great advice. And Dave Croft has interviewed her as Anne Catherine Dern. I'll put it on the screen. She give you the straight up honest about the business and how tough it can be. You need to follow her. If you really want to look at composing direct, it's a hard business to get into. It's harder than what I'm doing right now. I promise you that. It is harder. So, and the last channel I'm going to refer you, and then I'm done with my resources here, is Stephen Badal. Talented guy from Canada. I'll spell it here. Great channel. He's got courses, and you can subscribe and go over what you want and unsubscribe, whatever you want to do, or you can stay with him. This guy does an amazing job at teaching genres of music and how to compose for him. And I've gone through some of them, and I encourage you to get his course on teaching these genres. He does some of the primers on YouTube. Follow him. But he's just a great guy. He does a lot of stock music, but he does a lot of sync. And what he also does is like Venus Theory, like Cameron. He does a lot of custom music for companies and different people, and he's so talented. So you've seen him on YouTube with Eric from that Make Music Income. And Eric is a nice guy. He hasn't been doing sync that long, but I don't know. He's a songwriter. He's done a lot over the years with that, and very smart and very talented what he does. Very nice guy. He and Stephen have done the podcast together and stuff. So Stephen Badal, folks. And guys, I pass this on. If I have any other resources, I'm going to pass them on in time. But I really wanted to pass this on. But all I ask, please, is to complete these videos I put in this series, and just like and subscribe and pass this on to anybody you know, and go listen to other people. Get these books and follow these people and tell you they help me a lot, and they will help you too. Listen, I didn't mean to keep this so long at 40 minutes. And I may have to split this video up into 2 videos. You'll know in time whether it's one or two, a part 1 and a part 2 or just one. But listen, I appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Thank you. Bye.